Hi there everyone, welcome to Crossroads Cartomancy. I'm Jack of the Celestial Coven, a DID system that reads cards here on YouTube and over on Keen. You can find us on Keen under Ash Scarlet Moon. We are not out as a system on there, but we are on here on YouTube. Many of us will be doing readings on this channel. This is our first video, so I welcome you and thank you for checking us out. I apologize in advance for any kookiness of the video itself. Again, this is our first one and we're doing our best. But with that said, we are here to find out about how you can live your authentic self and how you can get from where you are now to living authentically and feeling true to yourself. So for this we have 3 piles, so feel free to pause the video at any time here and see which pile calls to you. You can either choose based on the crystals or based on the archetypes you see here, or for any other thing that might call to you about the piles. So go ahead and do that now, and then we'll get started. Hello there for those of you who picked pile 1 with the Femme Fatale archetype and the lovely piece of amber here. This is your reading. So a little bit about the card you chose first. The Femme Fatale is someone who is very in touch with their sensual and even sexual sides. Now, this might not apply to everyone if you're asexual, but of course, this is just a very, luscious kind of energy about this person. So I take it this is an energy that you either are now or wish to embody, and that this may be sort of ideal for you. And this doesn't mean necessarily you're a woman. You might be a man or a non-binary person or any other gender. But this is just sort of the, luscious, sort of, sensuous, sort of, serpentine sort of energy from this kind of pile I'm getting. So we're going to put that here. Slide that forward just a bit so you guys can see it. All right. And the first thing we're going to find out for you guys is what you are expressing to the world right now. So this is not your, necessarily your true self, although it might be if you're already living in an authentic way. But this is what you are presenting of yourself and showing to the world. Now, this is not necessarily saying that you're being being lying or anything like that, but it does mean that, there may be some ways you could be living more authentically. So let's take a look at these. The first things we have are your tarot, which are the Queen of Chalices in reverse, and this is the Star Spinner Tarot, which I will link all my decks that I use in the description below. And we have the, the 8 of Chalices in reverse. And then we have the King of Swords, all right? And for your archetypes, for your outer self, we have Prince, put that there, and the Samaritan, all right? And then we have a magical card for your outer self. This is Inspiration here. Get enough room for that. All right. Oh, it looks like there's yeah, there we go. Okay, so, sorry, I thought there was an extra card there for a moment, but that's for something else. All right. So, what I'm seeing here is that the vibe, if we can use that here, that you tend to give off to others is sort of very, you try to give off a more mellow and, a romantic vibe, yes, but like, I'm seeing a lot of blue here, so you might try to appear, very suave and cool and watery and, flowy, but there's this kind of fire underlying that I think a lot of people recognize more too. But we have the King of Swords, so this is also you might probably present a more rational and, you know, taking all sides into consideration. I see you try to play fair as best you can here, in your social interactions. You try to be, you know, someone who is helpful and, you know, kind to people around you. But you do so in a rational way that, you know, you're trying not to do so in ways that don't make sense to you. Like you may have some sort of, um, I'm getting this kind of vibe of like I just heard the words like do they deserve it, and so for some of you there may be this shadow aspect, and this isn't for all of you, but for some of you, and if this is ringing true for you, this might be something to check. But there may be some shadow aspect you're portraying to the world. This isn't your higher self, but like that may be sort of asking yourself when you want to help somebody, well, did they put themselves in this position? You know, is it their fault? And I think that that isn't a really good thing to really look at when choosing whether to help somebody, because it's kind of hard to determine, you know, who's at fault and who's to be the judge of that, you know, and are you to be the judge of that? And do you really have all the relevant factors? Because we can't always see all aspects of somebody's life. So we don't know everything that put them in that position. And then sometimes it is their fault. But whether or not that's a good reason not to help them, is, you know, it's a good question. And of course, no one wants to overstep their own boundaries. Like if you don't have a lot to give and you know you want to give to somebody, but you know you're trying to use your best judgment on when and to whom, you know, that makes a lot of sense. But, you know, just, you know, within your own means, of course, you know, don't let whether somebody is at fault be you know, the judge of that. But I'm getting that that's kind of not necessarily for all of you. For a lot of you, you tend to have a very sort of calculated kind of way of expressing yourself. Like I'm getting a lot of, you know, you have a distance from this emotional part of you, even though you are putting across this kind of romantic sense to you, or you're trying to give that vibe off with this prince here. Um, the the vibe you're giving off with your outer self is one that's more um, you know, cool, calm, you know, collected, calculating type. And that may seem powerful to a lot of people, and that may draw some romantic attraction. I'm getting that's not entirely, since you picked the femme fatale here, I'm guessing that that's not entirely what you were going for with how you're trying to exert your energy and how you're trying to appear. And maybe that's why you wanted to learn how to live authentically, because there's something that doesn't feel right about it. Um, so with inspiration here, you try to be an inspiration to others, especially when you're being helpful to others. Like you try to help other people, especially when other people notice, so that maybe they'll be inspired to help as well. Also, if you happen to work with deities at all, not everybody will necessarily that works with this pile, but if you happen to work with deities and you work with Goddess Isis, this could be confirmation for you. If you work with deities and you don't work with Goddess Isis, then this may be her calling out to speak with you and potentially work with you, because she is very inspiring and magical queen who is also a femme fatale in her own right. And so if that's something you're trying to learn, she may be able to help you with that. If you don't do deity work, that's totally fine. In that case, this Isis, it can serve as sort of a symbol of the femme fatale that you might be growing into. But and again, this might not be femme fatale specifically. You might not be a woman, you might be any gender, but you know, that kind of energy that I mentioned at the beginning where you're very, you know, sensuous and exciting and passionate, you know? So, let's get into, let's put these to the side for now, because what I want to do is look at how this compares to um, your inner self now. Like, there's probably more I'm going to get from this as we go through this, but I want to get to that first. So I'm going to put these kind of over here so you can kind of see them, so we have room for the others, right? All right, so let's get a sense of what your more authentic and higher self looks like, and see if there are any differences or similarities with what you're showing to the world. So for your tarot cards, we're going to have the Ten of Swords. Interesting. The Chariot in reverse. And the Knight of Swords in reverse. Oh, okay, this is very interesting. And for your archetypes, we have Visionary and the Mediator. And I'll hold these up when I talk about them in just a moment. Right. For your magical card, for your truer self, you have Knowledge here. Put that here for now. Right. I apologize. I will find a better way to display these eventually. All right. So, these a little bit more to the side. All right. So I can tell that when it comes to your more authentic self, you are someone who ends previous ways of doing things and comes up with new ways of doing them. Like, you have a higher self that is able to see what others are not able to see. Someone who is able to really bring out new variations and new combinations, and can see things that would really help the world, especially since you already try to be a good person with the Samaritan here. And I can tell that you're looking for ways to better yourself and better the world, and help people around you that, especially those that you care for, but even people in need. And I'm seeing that there may be some sense of, yeah, I can see you definitely want to help people, especially help people get along with each other. Like, you may, if you're not in this kind of line of work right now, one might consider a sort of, diplomatic position, or perhaps sort of a counseling position, perhaps couples therapy, or something that allows someone. But I get that you're not going to do whatever you're going to do. You're not going to be doing it in a traditional way. Like, you have a new idea. You have something that is completely different that's going to kind of achieve these ends. But even aside from all of that, even aside from your career, you're the kind of person who, in your truest self, can really bring a lot of peace and understanding between people in ways that haven't even been imagined yet. And it's interesting, with the femme fatale energy here. It may be that will tie into how that is expressed. There may be some way that you live, or perhaps an aesthetic that you take on, or perhaps a line of work that you do, or a spiritual tradition that you follow that's very earthy and sensual and grounded, but also but in that way can show people how to really appreciate things more. And I think there's something about that that's going into your transformation here. I think that you, with this visionary here and knowledge, I think that these insights that you have, these different ideas that you have, are going to become knowledge that people will use as a standard knowledge eventually. I think I'm getting that strong sense right now. And I think that people will use the ideas that you come up with, and they'll teach people about them. And this may be on a large scale, or maybe just within your own family. Like, maybe people will, if you're in an academic field or something, perhaps you'll end up, publishing something that becomes common knowledge. But it could be just something that you do differently and do in some new, unique way that ends up getting passed on through your family for generations. I'm kidding. The I don't know if any of you have watched Full Metal Alchemist, but the whole it's been in the family for generations. The Armstrongs, But anyway, maybe maybe you're more of an athletic type or a gymnast. But anywho, what I'm getting also here from your more authentic self is, yeah, like you end things that don't need to be, and you start new ones that are better in their place, like, and you have no hesitation on that, with the Knight of Swords in reversed. You are able to, you know, push through any obstacles and just cut them down and out of your way. And like you see through all the crap that everybody else would fall for, and you just cut it out of the way. That is what your higher self does. That is what your more authentic self does. It uses that keen vision, and it just allows anything that isn't your higher truth to just be gone. With the Chariot reverse, at the same time, I'm getting it like with these both in reverse, because these both, you know, with the Chariot and the Knight of Swords, these are both very fast cards. Like there's a lot of fast moving energy, and but in reverse here, you know, like though it may seem like you just like cut through bullshit very quickly, and that's true, but there's also this kind of, you know, paced side of you when it comes to your higher self, like when it comes to your ideas and the building of your knowledge, and it comes to your own goals and dreams, like those things, you take your time. That's what your higher self does. You take your time and you flow into them. You use that kind of, you know, sensual earth energy to kind of, you know, just rock with the changes that happen, and, you know, move at your own pace. You're definitely somebody who's going to be, you know, if you align with this, you're going to be very good at communicating with others and very good at getting knowledge across to the people that most need it. So with this, I'm seeing that there are some differences in how these two energies are expressed. Like I'm getting that right now, you may be somebody who is very unsatisfied in a certain way, and that might make you restless. Like I'm getting a sort of feeling of restlessness. And that sort of thing is making you a little less aligned with your truer self, and making you a little less authentic, you know, again, not intentionally necessarily, you know, because, you know, you're trying to go too fast for yourself, and you need to slow it down. And you need to also be able to connect more with these emotions to be able to have the intuitive connections to, you know, get the visions that you need, because those are going to come from, those are going to come from, what I'm getting is those are going to come from some place that is deeply emotional for you, and there's something that you're avoiding with that. Like maybe you're focused right now on you want love. Maybe you're like, oh, I really want love, you know, with this prince, and so I'm going to try to be this romantic, you know, powerful looking person who's going to attract love, and then that will make me happy, and it'll make me feel like the femme fatale I want to feel like, or the, you know, them fatale, or the him fatale, whatever. For you, like, that's not the first step. Like maybe you will find love, and I'm sure you will eventually. Everybody has a chance to find love, everybody, and it's never too late, no matter how old you are. But if your focus right now is finding love, and you're not connecting to these emotions on a deeper level, and like really, you know, digging deep within yourself, and like seeing what might not be working for you anymore, you might be resisting walking away from, you know, there might be a different journey to go down here. But, you know, once you are able to really check in with those emotions, I'm thinking that there will be a little bit more alignment. But we're going to get more information on that right now, actually. So I'm going to pull these aside, and I'm going to ask about how you can get from where you are now to living your authentic self. So, your tarot cards for this. Center that a bit better. There we go. Your tarot cards for this are Three of Swords reversed. Yep, gonna be a lot of healing involved. Ace of Coins reversed. Okay, so these are tarot cards here. Other advice for the moon deck. It's supposed to be happening. Expect powerful change with the new moon eclipse. All right. And then for a light aspect of this journey, we have Wise Leader. Now, light and darkness is a little different for me, and I'll explain in a moment. And the dark aspect of this journey, Set, Prince of Avarice. Now, this is from the Sacred Traveler Oracle cards, and these are from the Mausoleum cards, and these are from the Moonology cards, and these ones I'm sure you've seen around before. So what I'm seeing here is that there is a lot of healing that needs to be done here. I think what you've been doing is looking for opportunities for material abundance. Maybe you've been looking for a new job. Maybe you've been looking for a new, sugar daddy or sugar mama or sugar person, or maybe you've been looking for something to, fulfill you from outside yourself, I think. Something materially. You've kind of been waiting for an opportunity to just kind of like be handed to you. But I'm getting that that's not happening here. And I know that might be hard to hear, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that you are, not doing anything, putting in any effort. Of course you are. But, at the same time, the kind of effort you might be putting in isn't the kind that is allowing the healing to take place. It needs to. Like, there's something, like I said, you're a little disconnected from these emotions. That's probably because there's something in your past that hurt you a lot. And, it's left some scars that haven't been tended to. And it's going to be this healing. And, stop looking for outside support having support is always good. Like, if you need to talk to someone, always talk to someone. If you need to, talk to a friend, if you need to talk to, a therapist, if you have the privilege to have a therapist, if you, need to talk to, even yourself in the mirror, just, whatever you need to do, like, that's all fine. But, like, in general, it's not the actual healing you're looking for in general, like, when it comes down to the actual work of it, isn't going to come from outside sources. You're going to have to sit down and look at those emotions and see what they need from you to heal. So doing that, you'll be able to get powerful changes in yourself and in your ability to be authentic. If you can really look at the roots of this pain that you've been avoiding, perhaps, then the way you want to be, will be an easier road for you. Living authentically is hard when there's so much that has hurt us. I know, as a survivor of trauma myself, obviously we are a DID system, so, by nature, anyone who has this disorder comes from long-term childhood trauma. And, if you have had any traumatic experiences yourself, then that have not been healed. Now, of course, healing is a lifelong process, and some of us have things that happen that leave us with scars that last the rest of our lives. But that doesn't mean that there isn't hope, It means that we have to acknowledge and recognize and accept ourselves for who we are, the place we're at, what our limitations are, and what our strengths are, and to be loving towards ourselves nonetheless. I don't say love yourself, because I know a lot of people suffer from depression, and that's really hard. I say act loving towards yourself if you can. And right now, that's going to involve really looking at those emotions and trying to do some healing. And if those scars are really deep, then yeah, trying to get some outside help might help you. But in general, you can't expect the world to just hand you the solution to your problems. Even by reading tarot, you're here reading, listening to this reading, and we can't just flick the switch and heal you. but we can at least help you know which way you need to go. Um, and in this case, if you really do sit down with those emotions and try to process them and really see what they need of you and what they, um, not the story behind them or because our emotions try to tell us a lot of lies, but like what does it need from your body? What does it need from you to heal? What kind of, you know, because everyone's different in this regard. So a light aspect to this is that, you know, especially since we had that Prince card too here, this is also something that to keep in mind. Like, you do have the appearance of being, you are going to be seen as a inspiration to others, like you have been. You are your journey and your striving to be your authentic self is inspiring those around you and leading them to do the same. It may also be that there is a certain leadership you need to take over yourself. Like, perhaps you've been kind of letting things happen if it's been hard, and you've been too afraid to pick up the torch yourself, pick up your own spear, and just kind of get up and go, and I know that's easier said than done, trust me. But, like, at a certain point, we have to, and I think you doing that is just a sign of your strength and your ability to pull yourself, forward and fight for what you know is right, and that inspires others to do the same. Um, a dark aspect of this. So dark isn't necessarily evil. I know a lot of people talk about it like that on these channels, like, all the time. And to be honest, that kind of irritates me. Dark and light are a little different. Dark is that which is hidden. It is that is in shadow. It is that which we don't usually like to see, but it is still there. It is the underground. It is those that are hidden. And often, it is something that is also representing aspects that are not as approved of by society, not in the light. In this case, we have Set, the Prince of Avarice. So a dark aspect of your journey here is potential for short-sightedness, ambition, and narcissism. So I'm getting this again with the Prince here. It seems like some of you may aspire to high rank in some regard, perhaps a higher place in politics. We're getting that politics vibe from Samaritan, mediator, visionary, all these things. Like, you might have something to do with politics or public service in some regard. But if that's the case, try not to be blinded by your ambitions, and try not to try to see too far in the future at once. I think we have a tendency to be like, okay, I have to get to this point within this many years, and it needs to happen in this way. And, like, we can't always see that far out. And so now, this card isn't like calling you a narcissist or anything, so don't think that. And also, narcissism is not what people think it is. It's not, oh, my ex was a narcissist because he was mean to me. No, narcissism is an actual disorder that is very debilitating for those that have it. But that's not what this is talking about here. What this is talking about here is not to be. It's basically to keep something in balance. Like, if you are used to, focusing on, your own ambitions and, not much else, you're focused on your work, you're focused on your bag, but, you're not really, like, paying attention to your inner needs or your emotions and things like that. That can be your, that can be a tendency that can be a shadow tendency, because we don't often want to see that about ourselves. But, it is important to have that balance. And if you're somebody who is too focused, if you're focused on your emotions all the time to the extent where you're not seeing material opportunities, or you're focused on, anxieties or something like that, and that can keep you stuck in a place where you're too absorbed into your own being, and then you need to kind of balance that. So what I'm getting from that is basically just to try to, see what's going on in the short term, and, prepare in detail more for that, but to have in your heart the bigger picture, to really, you know, your main path is driven by your heart. And our ego can help us to direct the short term, but your heart will guide you towards your highest good in this regard, and it will inspire others as well. But you have to really sit down and do the kind of healing that is necessary to really sit with your emotions and, examine those areas where you're wounded and help them heal. Because that is going to bring you into that energy where you can be, these wonderful things and really rise to the heights that you've been wanting to rise to. And you will feel good doing it because you'll be living in an authentic way. So the last thing I'm going to do for you, Pile 1, is I'm going to draw a fun, humorous message to finish it off with, because I always believe that it is always great to leave people with a smile if possible. So the humorous message I have for you is from the Arcane Bullshit deck. This card is definitely about sex. I don't think I need to interpret that, considering it says it in the card, but at the same time, as we can see, this card has very little that is directly sexual on it. Obviously, if you wanted to look for symbols of that, you could. And I think that's part of the meaning of this. Like, anything can be about what we think it's going to be if that's what we're looking for, right? Like, if you're looking for signs of something, like if your mind is set on something, you're going to see signs of that everywhere. So if you're the kind of person who expects yourself to fail or something like that, and you're like, well, I'm definitely going to fail, like, you're going to see your failure in, like, all sorts of things, even if you're not failing at all. And so what we focus on a lot, we're going to see everywhere. And I think that's an important message for you, as well as being hilarious, because do I need to... Anyway. So, I think it's just about not everything is what it seems, and, being able to come from a place of more wisdom where you're thinking not with just your rationality, but also with your emotions, just like balancing those both. I think in DBT they call that wise mind. If you do these things, like, you try to balance that and use all parts of you to kind of evaluate situations, you'll kind of get a clearer picture. Because, if you're stuck in a certain mindset, then it could be making things seem like what they're not. So just watch out for that. So that is all I have for you, Pile 1. I hope that you achieve everything that you set out for, and I hope that you become your highest, best self and just rule everything. So until next time, Pile 1, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Hi there, Pile 2. If you picked the archetype of the engineer with the lovely azurite stones, one raw, one tumbled here, then this is your reading. So first, I can see from this engineer that you probably picked this pile because you either see yourself as now, or you want to become the kind of person who can really figure things out and, make things work. You like to, kind of take things apart and kind of understand them at a deeper level, and you like to be able to take what you've learned from that and make something out of it that is productive and cool. So I get that from that, or at least if you are this kind of person already, that might be confirmation for you. But this also might be somebody that you want to become. So get that a little closer so you can see it. No? Right. So the first thing we're going to find out about Pile 2 is what kind of person you're displaying yourself as to the world right now. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you're lying or, putting on a mask. I mean, some of us do, but, it could also mean that, there's just something you're not really sure of how to live authentically with yet, and that's what we're here to find out, right? So this is how you appear, you know, outwardly, and what energy you put off, the vibe that goes out into the world from you. And so the tarot cards we have for this, and these are from the Star Spinner Tarot, which I'll put all my decks in the description. We have the Six of Chalices, and we have the Lovers Reverse. Okay. Interesting. And then for your archetypes, for your outer self, we have Child Orphan, Athlete. Alright. Separate those. Because the last card we have is a magical card for your outer self, just peace. Alright, Frigid Goddess, in your sacred name, light me with peace's flame. Light within me, peace's flame. Alright. So, pile 2. It seems like the energy that you put out into the world, the kind of person that you show to the world, you show an outward sense of calm. But in your inner world, I say in world, I'm used to talk like that. Obviously, I'm a system. But you know, in your inner landscape, you know, you may have a lot of chaos going on. And but outwardly you kind of show this, you know, sense of peace. So like yourself that you're living right now, you know, you may have a lot of nostalgia or reminiscing about times that you might have felt were better, or people that you might have felt were better. Perhaps some of you went through a breakup recently. This isn't all of you. I know not everybody wants to hear about that. But for some of you, if you did go through a breakup recently, or if someone, you know, had to leave your life, when this could be a romantic partner, it could be someone else that you were very close to. This could be causing some reminiscing and, you know, difficulty reconciling, you know, where you're at in life now with where you used to be. But outwardly, you portray a sense of everything is fine. And, you know, I'm fine, and I'm strong, and I'm healthy. And yeah, I got, you know, abandoned. Yeah, you know, somebody left, or I, you know, feel like there's no one around me, maybe, you know, if you weren't going through a breakup, if you didn't have, you know, something like that happen, you know, this is, you know, more of, you might be feeling, you know, very alone in certain ways, or like, you know, like there's a sense of, you know, or maybe you feel like you're avoiding others on purpose, but like, you know, like you don't want to be around other people, you don't want a connection right now, you know, it's fine, I don't need nobody, that's fine, I'm good on my own. I'm hearing that for some of you might talk like that. But what I'm getting is like you have a lot of value on, you know, your physical well-being. You know, you have you know, you probably could take very good care of your health, or at least you're trying to. You probably, you know, you might even work out. You might be an athlete. No, you know, I suspect that's a small portion of you. But I get that you use your body a lot. And you might go hiking, or you might, you know, go out in nature a lot or something. But I'm getting that you do have a sense of loner energy here, or at least being, whether you want to be alone or not. Some of you, I think, do, and some of you don't. Like there's one camp of people that's like, yeah, I'm by myself right now, but I'm fine. And there's some part of you that are like, oh yeah, everyone left, but I'm fine. Either way, you're trying to kind of portray this very peaceful, you know, um, you know, you might be someone who's, you know, one of those people that takes Instagram pictures of yourself in the mountains. You know, I live in Colorado, so there's a lot of people who do that. Um, but even if you're not one of those people, you might be one of those people who, you know, likes to portray this peaceful but like active kind of you know, state of being, this sort of not needing anyone because I'm a wild child nature spirit, you know? Um, or because I'm a, you know, I'm a tough, you know, uh, muscle person who doesn't need any support because look how strong I am, whatever. Um, and I think that there's some conflict there for you because you're kind of living a bit more in the past than you probably want to be, which is probably why you came here. You probably wanted to find out, well, I'm not really, even though I should be happy, like, what's going on? I'm strong, I'm powerful, I don't need anybody, so why am I feeling this discontent? Everybody sees me as this peaceful person. Well, we're gonna find out that more as well. So the next thing we're going to find out for you, pile 2, is what your actual authentic self is like. And this may or may not have some similarities or not with your outer self, depends on how authentically you're already living, but we'll find out about that. So, the first thing I have for you for your innermost self is your tarot cards. So we have the King of Wands. Just put those over there for now. We have the Two of Chalices in reverse. Interesting, because we had the Lovers reverse in the first one. Okay. And we have the Star. Okay, that's beautiful. I really like that. All right. And you guys are beautiful, pile 2. All right. We have for your archetypes, Storyteller. Lovely. And Priest. All right. And for your magical card, we have Harvest. Wow, pile 2. You are a lovely person in your innermost self, and I can't wait to see you express this more. Right. So let's move the engineer here closer as well, because we know that you chose this for a reason. So it must have something to do with where you want to go. So, what I can get is that your innermost self, pile 2, is very passionate and driven and really knows what they want and how to get it, and just goes in that direction with hope and faith and, just knowing that anything that goes wrong, that their spirits or the universe or what have you will catch them, that they are supported, and that they can see the light in front of them. They're pouring that light themselves, and so of course they can see it. You are deep down someone who is, you could be a very spiritual person. I'm getting that for a lot of you, that you're a very spiritual person, and that you like to express that when you can. You might have felt like you couldn't recently. Like, I'm getting that you really don't show this much on the outside, but I think there is a very spiritual quality to you. Even if you aren't like, a religious person or anything, like you might not go to church or something, right? But you might, like, if you're out in nature, like say you go hiking a lot, or like you go running, with that athlete, you have a sort of divine connection, very actually, not sort of, an actually divine connection with nature and with, forces that run through this world that are deeper than what we see on the surface. And I think that you can naturally channel a lot of that, especially if you tell stories. Like, if you're the kind of person that either writes or, shares on social media a lot, or is a social media person, or if you're somebody who, just talks to their friends a lot and, shares stories with each other, you can really shine that, like, higher connection you have with nature, especially the cycles of nature. I'm getting harvest here. Like, this may be a very important season for you too. Like, you might love the fall. And I'm also getting that, like, deep down, Like, you just know how to bring in the abundance that makes your life feel fulfilled through your connection. And I think a lot of this might also be a connection to, you know, how your body works with this engineer and how that relates to how the world works in the natural world. Because, you know, we're part of that natural world, you know, while we're living here. We may be, you know, immortal spirits living in human bodies for now or something, you know, but we are, while we're here, you know, part of this nature that's around us. You know, everybody tries to separate humans from nature, but humans are animals. They're natural beings like anything else in this world. And, you know, I think um, I'm getting that there's also a sense that you really don't like your a similarity between this and your outer self is that you really don't need a lot of other people and you don't need a romantic connection to make you complete. Like, you are complete. I mean, everyone is. No one needs a romantic connection to be complete. But like, you especially, like, if you are upset about a breakup that happened recently, like if that was one of you who are watching this, you are better off without that person. If you weren't one of the people who had a breakup recently, just know that, like, whether you're in a relationship or multiple relationships, if you're poly or what have you, or if you're not in a relationship at all, you do not need that connection with another person to dictate your hope and your happiness. You have this hope and passion within yourself. And if you are able to tap into that energy, like the star in this King of Wands here, then this is that for you. It doesn't need to be another person. It's your hope and your passion, your faith and your drive, your actions will bring in that harvest and that good stuff for you. So, what I'm going to do next is see how exactly you can go from where you are now to living in your most authentic self. So, first thing I'm getting here is your tarot cards. So, we have the Seven of Wands and the Three of Coins. All right. And we have this Moonology card for you for advice, which is on this. So, a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. And a light aspect of your journey towards your authentic self is unknown territory. You are exactly where you need to be. And the dark part of it is Abraham, justice and justice of pandemonium, justice, truth, duty. Okay, so again, as I mentioned in the other pile, dark and light aren't the same to me as they are to a lot of people. You know, I see a lot of people talking about light is good and dark is evil, but I don't really use those concepts. Light is what is out in the open, it's what's shown, it's what's acceptable, it's what's friendly to, you know, the eye or the ear, or, you know, it's what's, you know, and who decides this? You know, this is mostly society says this, right? It's acceptable, it's in the light. The things that are in the darkness are things that are not as acceptable, you know, to whoever, right? You know, to ourselves if they're our own shadow side, etc., or to society if there's the underground, you know. But it's not a bad thing or a good thing in and of itself, light or darkness. So For the light side of your journey, we have unknown territory. You are exactly where you need to be. So what's this should be out in the open, you know. You and the spirits want to make that clear to you. Like, whatever has happened, whether somebody left or, like, you know, somebody, you know, had to leave, had to exit your life in some other way, or, you know, whether, you know, you just feel like you're alone and you don't know where to go and you lack direction, you know, whatever the case may be for that, like, you're going through this for a reason. Like, there is a good reason for this, and you are experiencing these things because without doing so, you won't gain the skills you need to undertake this next part of your journey. So this is actually a blessing in disguise sort of card, is that, like, the things that you think might be hindering you are actually in your best interests. A dark aspect of this journey is, you know, with Abraham, Justice of Pandemonium. So we have, it's interesting to see darkness with justice, truth, and duty, because usually these are light aspects. But here in the darkness, we're looking at the hidden sides of that. So we're looking at, you know, there will be some hidden truths, some things that, like, have yet to be uncovered regarding this. And I think that those are mostly in, you know, your sense of what is true. Like, how do you decide what's true, right? Like, what do you base your truth on? Is it your experiences? Is it what other people tell you? Is it obligations, your duties? What I am getting here with your tarot cards is that a way to get from where you are now to your higher self is to really take those areas in which you're skilled and use them to knock down those obstacles. So those areas where you feel like there might be challenges in the way, use those areas where you are skilled to find unique solutions to those things, because you do know, with an engineer, how to kind of pick things apart. And I think that that skill is going to be useful for you. Because, you know, when you're faced with a lot of obstacles, you know, like, you're going to overcome them, right? But, like, when you're faced with a lot of obstacles, you're going to be like, well, which do I tackle first? How do I tackle this? What do I do? But you're going to be able to really sort through that when you, like, sit down and pick it apart and really, like, see each thing for what it is. Getting a lot of Virgo energy with that. Some of you might be Virgos. Some of you might be Cancers. You might not be, but some of you might be. So what I'm thinking is that, like, for you to get towards your more authentic self, because you need to go from right now to someone who, you know, is kind of distant and, you know, maybe seems like a peaceful and successful person on the surface, but is conflicted inside. You want to go from this to someone who is sure of their direction, who is, you know, trusts themselves, trusts the spirits if they work with them, or the universe, and brings in what they desire by their own passion. And you want to move into that. And to do that, using the skills that you have and enhancing them and using them to take down other obstacles and getting more understanding of things and learning more about how things work, that will make you feel more proud of yourself and get you to kind of step into more of that King of Wands confidence that I'm getting from this. Like, I think there's a lack of confidence in some regards. Like, you feel like you should be the person you're putting on Instagram, or if you're not putting on Instagram, like, the person you're putting out there to the world. You know, I just keep feeling like Instagram is a part of this. Like, lots of y'all have that, don't you? But, like, you know, I get that, like, you know, even if you're not online, you know, that much, like, the part of you that you're putting out there is something that you kind of, like, you want to be, like, you're trying to show others, but, like, you feel like you don't yet have the skills for that or something, or, like, there's something unsure of it, like, you might have some imposter syndrome, I'm getting. But the way to step into that kind of confidence is to just use the skills that you know you have. You know you have some serious skills and that you know what you're doing. And to use these skills you already have, whether that be like your physical fitness skills or your, if you're literally an engineer, your engineering skills or your just ability to pick things apart and understand them. Um, Use that to knock down the obstacles that are in your path. And that will help you get there, particularly when it comes to the unknown. Like, if you are one of those people that really, like, gets anxious about the unknown and, like, doesn't really know what to do when faced with an unknown situation, that's when you sit and you take a step back and you look at it objectively. And you look at it like an engineer. You say, okay, what is this thing? What is it made of? How is it put together? Can I put it together? You know? And that's going to help you get through pretty much any obstacle in your way. Um, but you have to, and this may be a little bit out of line with what people expect. You know, people may be expecting you to do things in a very specific way because, you've shown this vision of yourself to the world as someone who's very peaceful, but some of this is not very peaceful that you're going to be going on. You're going to be turning into a much more passionate and energized person. Um, and yeah, so I think that like these are probably mostly like issues that are not like things that you can't put down yourself. Like I'm getting personal issues from this too. Like this is something a lot of these might have to do with the home. Like you may need to either some of you may need to move, but not all of you. Some of you may just need to reorganize your home or clean your home or deal with, certain conflicts that have happened at home between people who live there. Um, or, kind of resolve those things. And I think starting by using your skills to resolve those will help with the um, gaining of that confidence that you need to step into to get over here. Because, and also, like, if you connect with spirit guides or any, ethereal beings, they can also be of assistance here. But I feel like there's only so much, like, you get kind of three wishes, there's only so much that they're going to do for you. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as you go through this. Anyway, I think this is the advice I'm going to have for you for your um, path from your present expression to living authentically. But I'm going to get one last message for you guys from the Arcane Bullshit deck. I like to leave everybody with a fun, positive kind of like funny message at the end of each reading because I like to make everybody smile before they have to go. So, this message is from the spirits, but it's going to be a little bit more humorous. So, this is the random clip art card. Oh, that's great. I don't know if any of you are 90s kids or before and would remember clip art from like the early days of these things. When I was a kid, I used to make like little art pieces by just putting a bunch of clip art together. But anyway, I think that might be relevant for some of you. um, and I think that right now you might be trying to kind of hodgepodge things together, or kind of taking not necessarily taking the easy way, but like you might not be wanting to take that step. You might be afraid to take that step into your passion, into your pride, into your your confidence, because again, this imposter syndrome feeling. Like you feel like you're just a fake, like you feel like you're just a copycat, but I'm telling you, you're not. Um, and like this is, random clip art, right? But somebody had to make those, and I think that, like, for you, you are going to be stepping in from somebody who uses the random clip art to somebody who creates the random clip art. Not literally, but like going from somebody who is trying to portray a certain ideal but is only really using, what they've been given and not really stepping into their own creativity and their own understanding and figuring out how to make it their own, but you are going to be stepping into that kind of energy where you're going to be able to drive your own passion and create from your own um, unique way of understanding um, the intricacies of things. But yeah, so that's what I've got for you, pile two, and I hope that this was helpful in you learning to live your most authentic life, and I wish you the best, and I will see you next time. Hi there, pile three. For those of you who chose the archetype of the knight and the amethyst crystal here, this is your reading. So first, a little bit about the knight here. So the knight is someone who is, embodying those kinds of aspects of what we think of with classical chivalry. Now, knights weren't necessarily actually like this, but this is an archetype, not an actual person. But this is displaying the kind of energy that drew you to this pile. So this is either somebody who you already display yourself as, or somebody who you want to become. So this person, this shows someone who is very charismatic, someone who loves to be in love. If you're not that kind of person, like if you're aromantic or you just, meh, don't vibe with that, this is just somebody who has a very, like, vibrant and colorful energy about them. Someone who is, very exuberant, and, maybe someone who is, very emotionally expressive. I'm getting that too. So we'll put this here. Try to put this off somewhere you can see it, but yeah, I really do need a better setup for this. I do apologize, guys. Again, this is our first time. All right. Boop. Boop. All right. Okay, maybe you have a shaky horse, huh? Like, I don't know. I tend to read like random things that happen during readings, and like, it might be that I'm just clumsy today, but it might also be that there's a kind of shaky foundations, like something's a little unsure right now. But the first thing we're gonna find out for you today in your journey towards living your authentic self is who you have been displaying so far outwardly, right? Like this might be, in line with your authentic self if you're already living authentically, but if you don't feel like you are, this might be a little different from your authentic self. But we're gonna find out about this now. So who are you displaying to the world? And this doesn't necessarily mean you're lying if you're, not authentically like this. It just might mean that you're stuck in this energy. So we have the Five of Chalices in reverse, Three of Chalices in reverse, the Devil in reverse. Interesting. And for your archetypes, we have the Hermit and the Queen. Interesting. And then for your magic card for your outer self, we have Prosperity. All right. Well, pile three, we have a kind of a conflicting energy here, and I can see why there's a little bit of instability kind of under the surface of things. I'm getting with the so when I have all reversed cards in a reading, I tend to see those as kind of a choice, but in your case, I think that you present two different sides to yourself depending on maybe where you are or the company you're keeping. On one side, there is this sense of having gotten over past mistakes, having no, or maybe not even acknowledging mistakes in certain cases. Or perhaps that, like, you're all right with what you've left behind. Or like, things are, I'm getting the sense of, and I think pile 2 had some of this too with, so if you're getting, if you were also called to pile 2, I might listen to that, but, with this sense of things are fine, um, I'm not worried about it, but I also give the 3 of Chalices in reverse here, that this part of what you're showing to yourself is someone who, um, you might show yourself as somebody who doesn't really, especially with this Hermit, you display somebody who is kind of, a loner, or somebody who has it together by themselves, somebody who don't need nobody else, um, and in many cases you do display this. I'm getting some Gemini vibes from some of you, some Virgo, but also some Gemini vibes with this, but also, so I know, like, it's weird. There's water here. Like, many readers are gonna be like, what do you mean, Gemini? There's all water here. These are water signs." Well, maybe you are, but, like, honestly, I see what I see. Anyway, the a small amount of you. Now, this is only a small amount of you, but some of you were or are polyamorous and have had a change in your relationships recently, whether that's adding a partner or um, letting a partner go, or one of your partners lost a partner or got a new partner. But that's a very small amount of you, and you might be displaying this sort of indifference to that in one circumstance, and actually really caring about it in another, which we'll get to in a minute when we reverse these. And the devil, you might be also displaying this kind of lack of reliance on physical comforts. You might be kind of a minimalist at times, maybe not. Some of you might be, and this is one of those things where it's kind of two-sided, right? Because there's two different variations to who you present yourself to be here. Because on the other side of things, you also present yourself as somebody who cares deeply about everyone around them, and embraces, the not necessarily, bad, but, like, more hidden parts of themselves. Like, and they may, feel more, or they may, like, act like or feel like they're more free, in certain circumstances. Like, there may be a shift in your moods. I'm hearing that for a couple of you, and I'm not diagnosing anyone. This is only if you've already been diagnosed. This might be confirmation for you. This is, or if you, already, like, obviously diagnosis is a privilege if you're, but if you will know if that's right. I am not telling you you are or you're not. But, like, if you already know that you are someone who has a mood disorder of any kind, or perhaps like bipolar, or if you have any kind of other disorder that shifts the way that you feel about yourself, or the way that you present yourself regularly. Because I'm getting there's definitely this double aspect that is very different, because on the one hand, you exude this energy to some of being very, reserved and by yourself, and you might be mysterious, dangerous even, in some cases. You might be kind of scorpionic, or, you might be someone who, is secretive, or, like, that kind of bad girl, bad boy, badass energy. There we go. Badass. Just badass energy. Anyway, so basically, you might have this kind of badass energy, but it's, like, very mysterious, and, like, you give off this kind of loner vibe to some, but then in other contexts, right, you've got this very, like, caring, supportive, like, you actually, like, think about and learn from mistakes, and, you don't leave anyone behind. you show off this kind of like, wise, regal, but like loving energy that's very free spirited and, doesn't look back. Um, and, this is a more, um, so you have this like social and asocial part of you that you express to the world, is what I'm getting from this. And that you also portray a sense of, like, you look like someone who is, like, even if you're not rich, you might be rich, some of you might be rich, but even if you're not rich, right, you portray the sort of energy of abundance and fruitfulness and luxury just by, like, existing. So that's something to take note of how you're this is how you are appearing to the world right now. So and also, I'm not saying by this that you're two-faced or anything. It's not necessarily the case. Like, I'm just saying that, like, there's two sides to you, that are both being shown, to in maybe in different circumstances. So the next thing we're gonna find out here, right, is how, like, what is your actual authentic self deep down, right? So, like, what is it that is the authentic part of you, that is closest aligned to your highest self, that you would be living like were you to be living authentically right now. So, for your tarot cards, we have the Eight of Swords reversed, the Seven of Chalices, and the Four of Chalices in reverse. All right. Now, for your archetypes, for your true self, we have Healer. Wow, lovely. We have Hero, Heroine. Wow, you guys are impressive people. And you guys had a third one pop out, so you guys actually have a bonus card here. So this one is Judge. Oh wow, you guys are really, like, you guys have a lot of light energy, and we need to always balance our light and our darkness. There's not one or the other isn't bad or good, but you do have a lot of light energy about you. You have a lot of desire to heal and to make the world a better place, and bring justice and compassion to the world. I think that maybe not compassion in some of your cases, I'm getting that, but in many of your cases, you just want things to be fair and you want people to be happy. And there's one more card for your higher self, and that is Best Possible Decision. Artemis, goddess of the bow, help me to see what must be known. All right, so if any of you have do any deity work, now not all of you will, but if any of you do any deity work, and you happen to work with Artemis, this may be confirmation for you. If you don't right now, but you do deity work, Artemis may be reaching out to speak with you and potentially work with you, so that's something to keep in mind. But even if you don't do any deity work, the message here from this is that you, deep down, are someone who has very clear and, like, clear sight. You are able to rationally choose between options to see what's best. I'm surprised there's no King of Swords here, because I'm getting very King of Swords energy. It's interesting because the Knight and the Knight of Swords eventually becomes the King of Swords. I don't think this is more Knight of Cups energy, though. I think that you are evolving, though, and you are already on the road to becoming your authentic self and living your authentic self, right? Because that part of you does nudge you when you feel like insecure, not sure about a decision, you're indecisive about something. Um, there is this part of you that nudges you from like underneath your emotions. Like maybe it feels like something in your chest, maybe it's in your head, maybe it's like a weird feeling in your fingers. I'm also feeling that. Um, but you get this nudge when like even when you're doubting yourself of what the right decision is, and you just need to trust that more. But we're going to get into more advice on that, but you do need to trust that more. You have the capacity to really help a lot of people and change the world. The deep down in you is the desire to really make a difference and to change people's lives for the better. You have a lot of options to get there because you are good at a lot of things. And you may try to multitask a lot. I don't recommend multitasking to anyone, but you may have a but this is your higher self, so I don't think they're really doing that so much as they have a lot that they can see from where they are. Like they're able to, like I said before, collect all the relevant feelings and thoughts and bring them into the mind so that they can sort through them and make a good decision. And you know how to make a good decision. Your higher self does, and you can trust that you do. The Eight of Swords in reversed here says that your higher self knows how to get out of any situation that may be self-inflicted. Like if you end up in a bad relationship, your higher self knows how to get you out of it. If you end up in a bad job, your higher self knows how to get you out of it. Your true self knows how to get you out of it. And because you're such a good decision maker deep down. You really are. And you are a wise judge of a situation. Like you can really see what's fair. You have a good sense of fairness. And you deep down are also someone who knows how to be content with what one has. You have all that you need just by making the right decisions for yourself, healing any wounds that might be inflicted from your past, which you'll know. Your true self can really understand exactly how to do things when you put your mind to it. You can find the solution to anything, and you can heal both yourself and others with this ability because you can see what needs to be done, like a surgeon. Maybe some of you are in medical professions, and if so, you guys are awesome. And thank you for what you do. Thank everybody for what they do, regardless of what position or what job you have, because everybody's job is important. Let nobody tell you otherwise. But in general, you may not also have a traditional healing method. Like some of you may heal through, writing or poetry. Some of you may heal through music. Some of you may heal through, counseling or through, some of you may heal through Reiki. I'm getting Reiki for some of you. Some of you may heal through other kinds of energy healing or magic. Some of you may heal through tarot. Shout out to my other readers out there. But a lot of but as a healer deep down, you really do have that ability to save people. Because when people are wounded, it prevents them from or it puts obstacles in the path of their seeking their highest good, and you taking away those obstacles saves the day, and you know exactly how to do that. And this applies to yourself too. You can heal yourself in the same way. And I think that we're going to find out how to do that right now. Because the next cards I have for you are going to be advice for how to get from where you are now to your highest self. And to being in alignment with your authentic truth, who you are. So, just this little bit. Tarot cards you have for this advice are the Empress in reverse and the Hermit in reverse. Okay, so you have two options here. And you also have New Moon in Sagittarius. Luck is on your side. That's very good news. And a light aspect of this journey towards becoming and living your higher self is impasse. Interesting. Now, light is, again, not always good, and dark is not always bad. I have very different views on that. Light is something that is out in the open. It is known about. It is acceptable. Dark is something that is hidden. It is not known about as much. It is less acceptable to us. We don't want to know it. The dark aspect of this journey for you is the Keeper of Whispers, the Mad Prophet, Purity, Madness, Forbidden Knowledge. All right, and so this one of you. All right. Some of you may need to work with your throat chakra a little bit, but what I'm getting here is that to get from where you are now, you have two choices. And either way, you're going to succeed if you do either of them. So one choice is to have these upright. And that is if you choose to really go within and like spend time with yourself to get to know yourself fully. Because in doing that, right, you will be able to become a very creative and very nurturing and, beautiful and abundant person inside and out. And you will be able to nurture any project or passion or love that you want. And but that comes with some time spent by oneself. And I'm getting that, like, we got from before, like, you have those two different personas, and I think that's why there's this choice here, is like you can use either the ones that you've been, displaying to kind of transition into this higher version of yourself, but the starting point can either be, by yourself, where you can actually pay attention to yourself and learn something, as opposed to, just to be mysterious, and, come into a, more fulfilled and abundant state of being and prosperous at that. Or you can do it the other way, and you can, kind of focus on abundance first, right? You could, if you are in a position where you are financially not stable, or you, or your health is not good, or you need, more self-care, those types of things are going to come first, right? So you're going to want to take care of your health, your physical well-being, because the more you take care of your body, the more these other pursuits become easier. So like if you are in that position, this is probably the choice for you. Because your physical health, your body, your mental health, those things come first. And then, the exploration. But like either way, whatever point you're at and is valid, and luck is on your side with that. So either decision you make in that regard will work out for you. But either way, eventually you're going to want to, go within, you know, because if you do it the other way and you focus on your health first, it's going to require you to get kind of outside your comfort zone. You're going to need to go maybe get a gym membership, or maybe you need to go out into nature more and go for a walk. Maybe you need to, you know, try different foods. Maybe you need to get more sleep or get less sleep, depending on what you're doing, you know, whatever balance is right for you. But like, it's going to require a little bit less comfort, whereas this one might be more comfortable. And if you are at a point where you're safe to do so, then this is probably the option for you to go with it and to really get to know yourself. To really ask yourself, who am I? And like, what, you know, and really get in touch with this higher part of yourself. You know, ask that higher part of yourself to come to you and be like, hey, teach me how to be who I am. And you will hit your mark. A light side of this, you know, we've got impasse. So I take it that there are some pretty obvious obstacles for you that you've probably been thinking about a lot of the time. But this thing is right here. There's this obvious reason, you know, that it's not easy for me to step into this, you know, thing. You know, it's not easy for me to step into, like, me, a healer, me, make good decisions. I've never made good decisions, I'm hearing from some of you. It's not true. I know that you are pointing at the evidence. You're like, look, there's the wall. This is why. There is another way around, right? And that is the blessing. That's the light. There's actually another way around. Like, if you are hitting this wall, look around and explore a little bit, because there's something that hasn't been seen. There's a way around this. And I'm getting that it's going to be through one of these things that we had mentioned. A dark side of this, Keeper of Whispers, Mad Prophet. So, a lot of the things that I'm getting from this are that the inner wisdom that you're seeking with the Hermit, when you do get into that energy, is going to be buried pretty deep. And there may be some difficulty in getting past it, maybe some confusion. But if you adopt a curious mindset towards yourself, you know, and, you know, self-care, keep yourself sane as best as you can, you know, but keep a curious mindset towards it, and just don't be afraid to keep diving and find out what's there, as long as you take good care of yourself, you know. Keep going, keep diving and find it, because there is so much more than I could ever show you here. But ultimately, there is somebody very wise within you, and somebody who really does know how to fix the world in ways that most don't. And fix their bodies, fix whatever. Not that anyone's broken or anything, but, you know, like, to heal. And I think that is what I'm getting for how you're going to be able to live your truest self. I have one more message for you that'll come from the Arcane Bullshit deck, and this one, of course, is a more humorous deck. And so I like to get people a humorous message when I do the readings from the spirits, that I can leave them off with a smile, because I like to do such things. So the card that you have is the coffin full of tacos full of snakes. Give you a look at that. So yeah, in this case, the spirits are saying that, like, kind of what we were saying earlier, like, there's a lot of layers to you, and a lot of layers to your highest potential. And, like, I think, you know, this person in the night is wearing a lot of layers and a lot of colors. You're a very colorful person. You have so much depth to you and so much to discover. So make it an exciting journey. It doesn't have to be dangerous. You know, the coffin has tacos and snakes. Um, so like it depends on how you feel about tacos and snakes, right? Some people love tacos, some people hate tacos, some people love snakes, some people hate snakes. But, you know, either way, you know, you can adopt whatever attitude you want towards the tacos and the snakes that are inside you. So have fun finding out what kind of snakes are there and what kinds of tacos. Because I'm sure there will be delicious tacos and adorable snake snoots. So like, and you know, obviously that's all metaphor, but the point is that make an exciting journey out of diving into yourself and understanding yourself and like really asking yourself because you know deep down what the right decision is. You listen for that pull, listen for that little tug, feel that intuition or that nudge from your higher self, you know, that's telling you, you know, what's right. And it's using good reasoning that you have within you. And the more you listen to that and dive deep and ask yourself questions and let your higher self answer those questions, um, the more colorful, beautiful things you will discover about yourself, and the greater your potential to really change the world. So um, that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you all for watching this, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much today, everyone, for joining me for this. I hope that you enjoyed these readings, and we will be bringing you more of these over time, and I'm sure that others of us in our system will be posting their own readings, so stay tuned for those because Desdemona and Azure are sure to be on themselves to do their own readings in their own styles for you on this channel. So, um, until next time, merry meet, merry part until we meet again. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, morning, and life.